Today, I'm going to talk about balance. Now, I have talked about balance before. I'm definitely, or what it is in life, there has to be a synchronicity where things, work together, they have a flow, the yin to the yang. Everything has the balance, like even a watch, all the gears are balanced so that everything works and flows properly. Everything has a balance. And when that's when they don't work properly and they just can't do the thing that they need to do, right? I think we all pretty much are clear on that. Things need to be in balance. Now, I know as people, for whatever reason, we tend to think we know we should, but whatever, I don't have time for that. I'm overwhelmed, I'm stressed, I don't have time. I'll find balance later. All of these things, and we just don't put an amount of importance on it that it is needed. Because let's just break this down and think about it. If we are well balanced in like mentally balanced, emotionally, our work-life balance, like we're doing good and we're all well oiled and running really well, we're not waking up tired. We're waking up, maybe we're not jumping out of bed, but we're waking up like, okay, time to get up. I'm good with that. We get up, we do our things. Everything flows and has a certain amount of ease to it, right? We go to work, we're productive, we get the things done, we come home, we have a nice home life. Like we enjoy life. Like life is good because we're in a nice balance. Therefore, the things we need to get done are getting done and they're getting done well, right? Because again, we have a nice balance. We're not stressed out. We don't have anxiety. We're not hustling because we're overwhelmed, right? So I hope this is resonating, making sense. So I really want to dig into that balance part. I have talked about masculine, feminine energies before. And, even if you don't believe in like energy, aura, like the woo-woo stuff, we all have masculine and feminine pieces to us. Like there's different traits, right? So the masculine is kind of that stronger, they call it, it's the yang of the yin and the yang. The yang is the masculine. And they call it more of like, it's the doer, the achiever, the go-getter, the take the actions type of piece, right? It's what we think masculine, and it is kind of that typical of what we think. It's the strong, it's assertive, it's when masculine gets out of balance, it's conflict, right? So it's more associated with that anger part of it, but it's building, it's structure, it's fixing, it's planning, it's being organized, it's focusing, achieving, like all of those different, you're kind of seeing the picture that I'm painting there. And it's all these, like, one is not better than the other, right? It's dominant, it's protective, it's decisive, masculine likes to make decisions, goal oriented, accomplished, it has vision, right? Like these are all the more masculine. There's a ton more, but this is all kind of like the masculine side, right? And when you think about it, you're like, okay, yeah, that kind of is what I'm thinking, makes sense. And the feminine side, of course, and I'm sure you can guess a lot of it yourself already, it's more that emotional side, but it's also, being still. If you've ever heard people very feminine, owning your intuition, listening intuition, being creative, emotional, like the empathy, compassion, nurturing, inspiring people, being supportive, loving, connection, being receptive, being open is very feminine, right? Because the masculine is the going and the pushing, the drive. It has the drive to get stuff done and push it. And feminine is very open and allowing results to happen, not forcing results, allowing results to happen, to come in. It's the yin of the yang, and it's very flowy. go with the flow. What do you feel like? What do you feel like doing, right? Very feminine. And again, it's not, you don't necessarily want, I need to have this more than that. It's finding that balance for you. And remember, because we're all different. And again, this has nothing to do with, male, female, things you identify as, whatever, any of that other stuff. Nothing to do with it. Is masculine, feminine energy, the yin and the yang sides. We just have those two different sides of us that balance us out. That's why the yin and the yang symbol, it's the perfectly balanced of each. Where's the yang? The yang might be a little bit bigger now. I can't remember. I'll have to check into that. But it's more or less, around equal. I think a 60-40 it might be, because 60-40 is also depending, again, your personality, who you are. Like, I have to assume energy workers that are very woo-woo spiritual, they're very in that feminine, they'll probably be, a little extra feminine, a little less masculine. And then, people like me, I have been hyper masculine my whole life. That's just kind of who I am. I love doing things. I love accomplishing. I love all those masculine type things. Now, it's all about finding that balance, of course. When we get burnt out, when we're exhausted, when we're irritable, when we're angry, fun fact, all of those things that are symptoms of overwhelm, those are not great places to be. Those are being unbalanced. And I'm going to dig deeper into this myself, but I really am starting to believe, I think that overwhelm might just be a reaction of being hyper masculine for too long. Because let's break that down, guys. The masculine, the doing, the going, the getting, always on, schedule, go, go, go. But you haven't structured it, you haven't balanced it, right? So it's too much. Self-care. Self-care is caring about yourself. Nurturing, having patience, giving grace, it's all feminine. So self-care is feminine because it's caring, it's nurturing yourself. You have all your different tanks and stuff, but that's what it is. So it's about finding this balance. Again, there's a time and a place for everything. One of the best examples that I've heard, and I'll give it to you, is on a sales call. When you're trying to make a sale, call in person, whatever it is, you bring in that feminine side and you're listening to the person, you're asking questions, you're getting to know them, their problems, how best you can help them. Because let's remember too, no matter what your industry, not everyone is a suitable client for you. So you're also best for them. I'm not just going to take this person's money to take the money. That's just sleazy. I won't even call that masculine, feminine, anything. That's just sleazy. But is this person the right person I can actually help? Or like if you're a financial person, will this person benefit from my services? Are they in a right place to actually be able to benefit from this? Or are there things they have to do first to come up to the level where they're right for me, right? Any industry you're in, there's always people that are right for you and that are not. So we bring out that feminine and we're asking questions and we're listening. We're kind of getting to know them, their situation. Again, and obviously in this part, we're actually listening, active listening. So we're also having compassion for the things they're saying, maybe some empathy, like taking it in. Okay, good. Repeating back. But then when it comes to actually making the sale, give me your money, please and thank you, that's masculine. That's a masculine thing to do. And of course, at the end of the day, a sales call, we want to make the sale, but we're having the balance of the two. And let's think about it. So when you come in and someone's just pressuring you, here's why you need to buy my thing, blah, blah, blah. It's so great, blah, blah, blah. I help so many people, blah, 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 buy my thing. That doesn't feel nice. Nobody really likes being sold to. It's too aggressive. Like, you're kind of like, well, if you don't even know me, like you don't even know if I need that. And then of course, on the flip side, if we're too feminine, then we're never going to get around to asking for money. We're just going to have a conversation and feel good all day and maybe pull out some wine. So it's about implementing both, about knowing where each needs to be. Another one is I am so big. You've heard me say it lots before. Schedules, lists, get organized, get structured. This is how you have to overcome that overwhelm. You have to structure everything. How do we balance it? You sprinkle in that self-care. I've talked about this a ton. Self-care, again, literally caring about yourself. This can be as simple as choosing a salad or French fries. This can be as simple as making sure you get adequate water for the day, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, parking 4 stalls out extra to get in extra steps at the store. Anything that benefits you and is actually caring about you, you take that in and it's self-care. So there's many ways to sprinkle this in. And this is where we can start getting creative. So for example, I have a morning routine. Again, very masculine, very structured, but you can also listen to music while you're doing your morning routine. Maybe you sing along with that. You start having fun while you're making breakfast. Very feminine. So even though you're doing a masculine oriented thing, you're balancing out that little routine, that little task for the day by bringing in the feminine. So you're starting your day off very balanced, right? Similarly, especially when you're at work, for the most part, most people are fairly structured. You have tasks you need to accomplish. But when you sit down and give yourself, this is why I always say when you time block and you have your schedule listed out in your tasks, always overestimate the amount of time. Never underestimate. That's how we get in trouble, right? So when you overestimate, you have a couple of minutes to just sit back, take a few breaths. Maybe you do a quick 2-minute meditation or something, or you just take those breaths to clear your mind and really kind of allow that creativity, the feminine side, to come in. Brainstorming, coming up with things. Again, these are feminine. When you give yourself the time to allow that creativity come in, again, we're balancing the need to be productive and get the task done with, okay, how are we best going to do it? And even better, allowing your intuition to take over. No, that doesn't quite feel right. I like this part better. Yep, that's the one. My gut's telling me this is the winner for sure. You're balancing by bringing in that feminine, right? So there's so many ways to bring this balance to our day. And again, this is why one is not better than the other. They are both very, very needed. It's just needed for the right task, right? If something has to get done, like there's a deadline on something and something has to get done by this time, you need to pull out that masculine. You're like, all right, we're hustling. Let's do this. And if there's no way you can really pull in some feminine to balance that task, you're like, okay, maybe I take 5 or 10 minutes after that task, put in my little sprinkle of self-care, decompress. Maybe I listen to a couple songs I love. I don't know, watch some cat videos. I don't know what your thing is. Listen to a quick release meditation, walk around in summer, walk around in the grass barefoot, really get grounded or whatever, right? But again, we're sprinkling in that self-care, sprinkling in the feminine to balance the masculine. And it's the same, like we cannot be so overly structured and not have any of that self-care to balance it out. So I hope this is resonating. I hope you're understanding. I think it's just very neat how it's kind of all the same. Like I talk about structure, schedules, focused attention, and then balancing with self-care. You need to have self-care to balance so you don't burn out and you find that good, implementing healthy boundaries, feminine, whereas, you look at it from the different angle of masculine, feminine energy and all of these structural things and doing and go-getting and accomplishing in masculine, but then the self-care, the boundaries, the compassion, the, social activities, being with your family and stuff like that, they're all feminine. It's the moral of the story is we need to have balance or we're just, who knows where our batteries are sitting at then, right? Everything is about balance. In order for us to be our best, do our best, produce our best, really get the most out of life and our lives, and not hate it. Like 15 years ago, I was so overwhelmed. I had a really good life. I just didn't like the way I was living it. I had very good things. I was surrounded with wonderful people and wonderful things. I just wasn't able to enjoy it, right? Because I was so unbalanced, right? I was so overwhelmed. So it's all about finding that balance where no matter what happens, this happens, that happens, you're like, cool, I got this, I can handle this, I know what to implement, I know where my strong points are, I can take this, I got my boundaries, I'm going to go home, I'm going to rest, I'm going to relax, I'm going to self-care. Life is great. It's all okay. Having that balance. All right, guys, I hope you loved it, and talk to you later.